Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast. Right now, nearly 60% of sales recs will tell you that their job is significantly harder than it used to be.
Oh, absolutely. It's a completely different landscape.
Yeah, I mean, they're dealing with tighter budgets, highly cautious buyers, and they are essentially expected to act more like strategic consultants than, traditional salespeople.
Right.
Yet, and this is the stat that really just blew my mind, almost three-quarters of them are completely winging it online, like without any virtual specific training at all.
Which is terrifying for any business leader.
Exactly. So today we have a custom deep dive tailored specifically for you on how to fix this massive revenue leak. We're unpacking this incredibly comprehensive resource for modern professionals. It's an article by Felix Römer over at smartkeys.org.
Yeah. Sales Enablement Trends. Equipping teams for smarter selling.
That's the one. And if you are trying to figure out how to make a go-to-market team genuinely efficient in a hybrid world, I mean, this is exactly what you need.
It's just such a critical topic right now. Because the shift to hybrid selling, it didn't just change where people sit, right?
Right. It's not just about Zoom.
No, it completely rewrote the psychological rulebook of how businesses buy from other businesses. I mean, buyers are doing far more independent research now.
Yeah, they're showing up to calls already knowing half the pitch.
Exactly. They're forming these complex buying committees. They're scrutinizing every single dollar. So the days of a rep just showing up, delivering a standard pitch, and, collecting a signature, those days are over.
So we have a workforce doing a fundamentally harder job in a completely new digital environment. And as the data from the article points out, only 29% of reps actually receive training specifically for online channels.
Yeah, 29%. It's wild.
That is a massive operational gap. You just have to wonder how much money is being left on the table because of that.
Oh, a staggering amount. And I think that's why Römer's article is so vital. It really breaks down how modern sales enablement is evolving to close that exact gap.
Yeah.
We are finally moving away from measuring empty activity metrics.
Like just tracking how many dials a rep made on a Tuesday.
Exactly. Nobody cares about raw dial numbers anymore if they don't convert. We're shifting toward blending content, coaching, and automated tools to drive undeniable, measurable revenue.
Reading through the source material, I couldn't help but compare it to how we used to navigate road trips.
Oh, the map analogy. Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, because the old school sales training approach was essentially like being handed a giant, heavy paper map at the beginning of a cross-country drive.
Right. You get a pat on the back and a good luck.
Exactly. Management says, good luck, find your way to California, and just assumes you'll remember every turn from a 3-day boot camp. But what Römer is describing here with modern enablement, it's like a modern GPS.
It adapts.
Yes, it dynamically updates your route based on live traffic. It tells you what lane to be in right before you need to turn, and it hands you the exact right tool at the precise moment you need it.
That analogy actually highlights the core psychological flaw in traditional training.
How so?
Well, the old way relies on this assumption that an employee can absorb a massive amount of information all at once.
Right.
And then just retain it perfectly for months.
Which nobody does.
Right. There's this concept in psychology called the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve.
Oh, yeah.
It basically shows that humans forget something like 70% of new information within a week if they aren't actively applying it.
Wow. 70%.
Yeah. So pulling reps off the floor for a 3-day intensive classroom session, your paper map approach, it's failing hybrid buyers because the reps just forget the material before they ever get on a live customer call.
So if the old paper map approach is completely broken, what replaces it? Like, how do you actually deliver training without pulling people off the floor and losing those valuable selling days?
Well, the modern approach is built on a principle called data-driven, just-in-time learning.
Okay.
You basically put the learning directly into the flow of their daily work.
See, I have to push back a little here.
Go for it.
When I hear just-in-time learning in the flow of work, my brain instantly translates that into corporate buzzword bingo.
That's fair.
I mean, if you're a rep trying to aggressively work a pipeline, doesn't just-in-time learning just mean getting interrupted by an annoying pop-up video while you're trying to write an email?
Right, the old paperclip assistant from the 90s.
Exactly. How do you prevent this from becoming just more red tape that drives the team crazy?
It's a very fair concern.
Yeah.
And honestly, if it's implemented poorly, it absolutely becomes an annoyance.
Yeah.
But the key differentiator for a successful program is that it must be relentlessly seller-friendly.
Seller-friendly? Okay.
Right. The goal is to reduce cognitive load and minimize clicks. So instead of a massive data dump or a disruptive pop-up blocking their screen, you push highly specific, bite-sized micromodules.
And when did those happen?
They are triggered by live milestones in their CRM system.
Let's ground that. What does that actually look like for someone sitting at their desk on a Tuesday?
Sure, let's say you have a new hire. They log their very first discovery call into the CRM. Or maybe they generate their first pricing quote.
Okay, a big milestone.
Exactly. The back-end system recognizes that specific action. So instead of making the rep go search through a clunky internal portal for the pricing guidelines,
Which takes 20 minutes.
right, the system automatically surfaces a 3-minute micro lesson,
Mm-hmm.
or even just a quick, actionable checklist about what to do next in that exact scenario.
The
Training finds them when the context makes it highly relevant. They absorb the tip, apply it instantly, and maintain their deal momentum.
Okay, so it's hyper-contextual. It's not training for the sake of training. It's training to help you win the deal you are currently looking at on your screen.
Yes, and it goes deeper than just process checklists, too. Römer's article details how this strategy specifically targets behavioral changes.
Interesting, like what?
Well, let's look at a common problem, discounting.
Oh yeah, the classic margin killer.
Right. You might have a rep who panics when they get pushback, and they constantly rely on offering discounts to save the deal.
Yeah,
In a traditional setup, a sales manager probably wouldn't catch that pattern until the end of the quarter during a performance review.
right. And by then, the margin is already lost. The damage is entirely done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But with data-driven enablement, the system tracks the language and the deal progression continuously.
Oh, wow.
It can catch that discounting pattern early in the sales cycle. And the moment it detects that behavior, it triggers specific coaching for that rep to help them reframe the conversation around value-based outcomes.
Before they ruin the next deal.
Exactly. It intervenes before the deal stalls out.
So you're essentially patching the leak while the ship is still sailing, rather than waiting to see how much water is in the hull at the end of the month?
That's a great way to put it.
But let's be real for a second. To execute that, to have a system that knows when a rep is generating a quote or knows that they have a behavioral discounting problem without a manager physically hovering over their shoulder,
Yeah.
you can't do that with sticky notes and spreadsheets. You need a serious technology infrastructure.
You do. You need a high-impact tech stack.
Yeah.
It's an ecosystem, really. And it all starts with the CRM, your customer relationship management software.
Right.
That is your central data backbone. It holds the milestones and the customer history.
But the CRM is just the foundation. Like, it's the concrete slab, not the whole house.
Far from it. Layered on top of the CRM, you need a unified platform for content and coaching workflows.
Okay.
This acts as the delivery mechanism for those step-by-step playbooks. Then you need a learning management system, the LMS, which handles the heavier formal certifications and ongoing growth.
Makes sense.
But the real game changer, the piece that makes the behavior tracking possible, is conversation intelligence and call coaching software.
I want to zoom in on that conversation intelligence piece because I think this is where the tech crosses from standard business software into something genuinely fascinating.
It really is.
I think about it like an elite athlete reviewing game tape after a match. But instead of just watching the recording by yourself and trying to spot your own mistake,
Oh, it's just hard to do objectively.
yeah, it's like you're watching it with an AI coach sitting right next to you, pointing out exactly where your footwork failed.
That is an incredibly accurate way to visualize it. I mean, call recording technology used to just be for compliance, right?
Just making sure nobody said anything legally actionable on a recorded line.
Exactly. But now, it's a strategic weapon. The AI within these tools literally transcribes and analyzes the conversations in real time to surface keywords.
Okay.
Going back to our discounting example, the AI can track the exact second a rep's language shifts from confident business value terms to, like, defensive discount language.
Oh, that's wild.
It is. It isolates those coachable moments from hours and hours of raw audio data.
Wait, so the AI is actually judging the quality of the pitch?
It is providing immediate objective insights. It measures pitch clarity. It analyzes the talk-to-listen ratio.
Like, are they dominating the conversation or actually listening to the buyer's needs?
Exactly. And it grades how well they handled specific common objections. But the real power multiplier here is how this feeds into peer modeling.
Peer modeling,
Yeah.
because you can take the tape from your top performers and show it to everyone else.
Yes, you are recording and analyzing all the calls across the entire company.
Right.
That means you can take the game tape of your absolute best closers and use it to train the new hires.
That is huge.
A struggling rep doesn't have to guess what works. They can directly listen to the exact phrasing, the tone of voice, and the objection handling techniques of your top talent, drawn from actual live customer interactions.
That's brilliant. You're effectively cloning the strategies of your most expensive, highest performing talent and distributing it automatically across the whole floor.
Precisely.
But there's another side to this tech stack mentioned in the article, right? Content activation, because it's not just about coaching the rep's voice, it's about making sure they have the right materials in their hands.
Yeah, and this tackles one of the biggest hidden drains on productivity in literally any company.
Oh, the endless search for files.
Exactly. Think about how much time a typical employee wastes just looking for the right PDF or presentation.
Oh, it's brutal. Digging through shared drives, messaging colleagues on Slack, asking for the latest version of a slide deck.
It completely kills momentum. The article talks about automating content activation. This means serving short, stage-specific content automatically.
Give me an example of how that works.
Well, let's say you schedule a follow-up meeting with a buyer in the healthcare sector.
Okay.
The system automatically pushes a relevant healthcare customer success story, a tailored product demo, and a simple one-page battle card directly to the rep.
Actually, let's define battle card really quickly for anyone who hasn't used that term before.
Sure.
That's essentially an internal cheat sheet, right? Something that gives the rep quick bullet points on how to position their product against a specific competitor or how to handle a common objection.
Exactly. It's a quick reference guide. And by automating the delivery of these tools, by having the CRM literally hand the rep the battle card the moment they schedule the meeting, you eliminate the search time.
You get those hours back.
You ensure they are spending their time actually selling and building relationships, not doing administrative scavenger hunts.
Okay, so we've got this amazing GPS system guiding our teams. We have AI reviewing the game tape. We have automated cheat sheets dropping into their laps.
It's a powerful setup.
It is, but here's the multi-million-dollar question. If you are a CFO or a business leader listening to this, you honestly don't care how cool the AI is if it doesn't make money.
Sure.
So how do you actually prove this massive tech investment is working? We need to shift from the tools to the strategic KPIs, like the metrics that leadership actually cares about.
And this is where a lot of well-intentioned enablement initiatives completely fall apart.
Really? Why?
They measure the wrong things. They measure activity. They go to the C-suite and say, look, 90% of our reps completed the new video course.
Right. Look how busy we are.
Exactly. But the C-suite doesn't care about video completions. They care about revenue. So Römer emphasizes the absolute necessity of picking one primary metric, a North Star KPI, per quarter.
Why just one? Doesn't a business need to improve everywhere all at once?
Well, if you try to change every behavior at once, you will overwhelm the team and accomplish absolutely nothing.
Fair point.
You have to focus. You might choose to look entirely at reducing ramp time, meaning the amount of time it takes a brand new hire to become fully productive and hit their quotas.
Right.
Or maybe your goal is lifting the overall win rate of the team. Alternatively, you could focus on growing the average deal size or maybe shortening the overall sales cycle length so cash comes in faster.
But you pick one.
You pick one outcome and you align all your coaching, your AI tools, and your content around moving that specific needle.
And to know if you're moving the needle, you obviously need to know where the baseline is. The article provides some really sobering industry benchmarks so listeners can measure their own teams against the broader market. And honestly, reading these numbers, it paints a pretty rough picture of the current state of sales.
They are crucial reality checks. For example, industry data shows that content usage hovers around 50%.
Let's just pause on that. That means half of the brochures, the white papers, the slide decks that a marketing team spends countless hours and salaries creating, they're literally never used by the sales team. That's a massive waste of resources.
It is. But if your company's at 50%, you're actually average.
Wow.
It tells you there's a huge opportunity to optimize the connection between marketing and sales. But even more critical are the performance benchmarks.
Give us a number.
The benchmark for win rates is roughly 40.54%. Quota attainment sits at 39.19%.
Wait, under 40% for quota attainment? That means on an average sales floor, 6 out of 10 people are failing to hit their revenue targets. That's not just a few underperforming reps. That points to a systemic failure in how teams are equipped to sell.
It does. It shows exactly how difficult the hybrid buying environment has become. The article also notes pipeline growth is benchmarked at 28.38% and cycle length improvement at 29.73%. 3%.
It's good to have the exact numbers.
Having these exact numbers gives a leader a realistic baseline. Because if you can push your quota attainment from 39% up to, say, 50% through better enablement, you have fundamentally transformed the financial trajectory of your company.
But practically speaking, in a busy company, who actually owns all of this?
That's the tricky part.
Right, because we're talking about marketing assets, training modules, CRM automation, and AI coaching. From the outside, it sounds like sales training, sales ops, and marketing could easily be stepping on each other's toes here.
Oh, they often do.
Let me guess. You need a very harsh dividing line where one team builds the assets, but an entirely different team is responsible for figuring out how to deploy them.
You're spot on. This raises a critical organizational design question. And the article provides a very clear breakdown to stop the internal friction.
Good.
It's all about distinct roles and clean handoffs. There are 4 distinct pillars here. First, you have marketing. They own the core messaging and the actual creation of the assets. They build the foundation.
Okay, so marketing makes the hammer.
Right. Then you have the enablement team. Enablement acts as the curator and the distributor.
Right.
They take the assets marketing built, tag them, organize them in the platform, and build those automated triggers we talked about earlier.
So they put the hammer into the rep's tool belt so it's easily reachable during a live deal.
Exactly. And they also measure if the content is actually being used.
So where does training fit in?
Training focuses on specific foundational skills. They aren't managing the CRM triggers. They were running the deep dive workshops on how to structure a pitch, the mechanics of negotiation, or how to fundamentally handle a hostile objection.
Got it. And the 4th pillar?
Finally, you have sales operations. They are the mechanics running the back-end systems. They manage the CRM data integrity, the reporting dashboards, and all the technical integrations.
So sales ops ensures the machinery is actually humming so the other teams can execute?
Exactly.
That clarity is just vital, because when everyone knows their lane, you stop wasting time on internal email chains trying to figure out who is supposed to update a single slide deck.
It saves so much headache.
All right, so we've got our roles defined, we understand the tech, and we've set our North Star KPI. If someone listening to this right now wants to take this blueprint and apply it to their company tomorrow, what is step 1? We need the practical takeaway.
Well, the article lays out a very clear 4-step implementation roadmap.
Okay, hit me.
Step 1 is where you have to start. You must align with the C-suite on that one business goal we talked about and secure the budget based on the expected financial impact.
Right, because if the executives aren't bought into the North Star, the frontline managers won't enforce the coaching.
Makes total sense. If the CEO doesn't care, the sales manager definitely won't care.
What's step 2?
Step 2 is to listen to the field. But I mean analytical listening, not anecdotal.
What's the difference?
You use those CRM signals and the AI call recordings we discussed to diagnose the real factual blockers. You don't build a training program based on a manager's gut instinct about what's going wrong. You build it based on where deals were actually stalling in the data.
Okay, rely on the AI game tape. Step 3.
Step 3 is building the solutions, those short stage map microprograms and concise battle cards we talked about.
Keep it bite-sized.
Yep. And step 4 is measuring the impact with simple dashboards. You have to be able to correlate course completion and content usage directly with actual revenue outcomes.
To prove the ROI to the executives.
Exactly. It's a continuous closed loop. You diagnose with data, deliver the micro-training, and measure the revenue impact.
But as we look at the broader picture in the article, it hints at something even bigger.
Yeah, the next evolution.
Right. Once you get this engine running perfectly for the sales team, you don't just stop there. There's this evolutionary concept mentioned called revenue enablement.
Revenue enablement is the realization that the buyer's journey doesn't start with the first sales call. And it certainly doesn't end when the contract is signed.
It's the whole life cycle.
Expanding to revenue enablement means taking this rigorous, data-driven process and applying it beyond just the sales team. You encompass the marketing team on the front end and the customer success or account management teams on the back end.
Wow, okay.
It creates a unified, consistent experience across the entire life cycle of the customer.
Think about what that means in practice. That means a customer success manager trying to secure a tricky, high-value renewal gets the exact same just-in-time AI coaching and the exact same stage-specific content that the sales rep got when they first pitched the deal 12 months prior.
Precisely.
Oh.
It breaks down the traditional silos between departments. Suddenly, the entire revenue-generating engine of the company is operating from the exact same playbook, using the same metrics and optimizing the same behaviors.
That is a massive operational advantage.
It really is.
But looking at all of this, the AI, the automated battle cards, the conversation intelligence, and this perfectly unified revenue enablement engine, it brings me to a thought I just can't shake.
Oh, what's that?
We've spent this entire deep dive looking at how companies can use this tech to create incredibly optimized, frictionless, almost superhuman sellers. But what happens on the other side of the table?
What do you mean?
Well, if sellers are getting this perfectly equipped with AI whispering in their ears, what does the future of the buyer's experience look like?
Oh, I see where you're going.
Are we heading toward a world where procurement teams and corporate buyers adapt their own AI tools to analyze the seller's pitch in real time? Like, will buyers have their own AI coaches evaluating the seller's discounting language, negotiating against these perfectly equipped sales teams?
That is a fascinating scenario.
It feels like we are on the edge of an impending arms race of business intelligence.
An ecosystem where perfectly AI-enabled sellers meet perfectly AI-enabled buyers. If the tactical execution is entirely handled by algorithms, it completely redefines what human connection, trust, and actual value creation will mean in the future of commerce.
It really does. It's definitely something to mull over as you look at your own tech stack and your own go-to-market strategy this week. Thank you for tuning in to the SmartKeys podcast. We hope this deep dive gave you the actionable insights you need to build a truly modern enablement engine for your own teams. Be sure to hit subscribe to the podcast so you can stay ahead of future business trends, structural shifts, and the tech that's changing the way we work. And you should absolutely check out Felix Römer's full article for even more granular strategies on modern go-to-market execution. You can find the link to read it right there in the show notes. Keep learning, keep adapting, and we'll see you next time.